Good morning, YouTube. Back with another video. So we've had eBiscuit now for 6 months. Going to be doing a quick little review of what I think about the car over the last 6 months. I'm not going to go into too much detail because there's plenty of that on here on YouTube that people probably more qualified than I are giving their reviews. But you can see as we take a walk around the vehicle, I'm getting ready to go on a long road trip, the longest one so far. So I have charged to 100%. The car is preconditioning. So it's running, if you would. Getting the cabin nice and warmed up, getting the battery pack warmed up while I was packing up, putting the dogs away and all that stuff before leaving. It's been running now for about 12 to 15 minutes, so we're going to get in here in a second. Did charge to 100%, like I said. Not too cold today, and we'll see what we do for efficiency driving from New Hampshire all the way down to essentially Philadelphia. Okay, so I'm actually going to be using a better route planner today. I paid the $5 for the monthly subscription. I probably wouldn't pay for the full year just because I don't do road trips like this that often. But comparing it to the onboard navigation system, seems like the Ford navigation system has been slightly better since the update. I don't use it often because I'm typically in Android Auto. But so going from where I'm at, which is southern New Hampshire, as you can see right here, all the way to essentially Philadelphia, like I said, not too bad here. It is estimating only 2 charging stops, one in Connecticut and another one in about New Jersey-ish, which is similar to what I planned on a better route planner. So what I'm gonna do is, because the area in Philadelphia that I'm going to, the charging situation, it doesn't look ideal down there. So I want to get to where I'm going with approximately 50% state of charge. So I'm gonna be using the like I said, a better route planner. And because I've paid for the premium, my account comes up here. I should be able to navigate. So we're going to go ahead and use this one, the 3 stops, 7 hours and 9 minute plan, where I customized where I wanted to stop. And again, I put in that I wanted to arrive with 50% state of charge. Okay, for this trip, I'm going to be in whisper mode again. I'm going to be using cruise control for the majority of the highway. One pedal driving will be on, but again, I'll be in cruise control, so that shouldn't matter too much. I reset trip 1 and trip 2. That'll be what we'll use for efficiency readings on this trip. So trip 1 will be the total trip, and then trip 2 will be we'll save that for the drive back.
500 feet, turn sharp left to Walton Road.
As you can see here, I am using
Turn sharp left to Walton Road, then turn right.
a better route planner. It's okay. It at least gives you directions on the screen. It does. I mean, I haven't gone very far, but it's given a couple squirrely directions. Like, it just told me to take that random side road. We'll get through it. Not bad for a Skunkworks GPS system. Right now, it's estimating my battery to be
In
at
500 feet,
99%,
turn right to Plaistow Road.
and that we should arrive at the first charging destination with 15% state of charge.
Turn right to Placekill Road.
I put in the settings, an estimated 2.6 miles per kilowatt hour is what I was targeting for efficiency on this for when making this plan. You can go into the settings and do some of that stuff. Alright, just doing a quick check-in, getting close to the first charger that we're expected to hit. So far the ride's been super smooth. I've gone about this distance before in the car. It's very comfortable, very smooth ride. Overall pretty quiet in here. On I-84 here, we started getting some good wind, so getting some wind noise inside the cabin, but overall pretty good. I had to be on an hour-long conference call for work that I could hear pretty well. I was using it on my work phone in speaker mode, not connected to the Bluetooth or to the screen here. Super comfortable ride. Again, just cruise control. We're in Whisper. Haven't really adjusted my speed manually at all. Just kind of had it set to 75, 73, whatever. And just going with the flow of traffic, allowing it to slow down like it's going to do now as we start approaching that car in front of us. Just maintaining the speed of the highway. Haven't really been doing too much. Haven't done anything to hypermile or extend my range. I'm setting the heat, changing it as needed to maintain my comfort level. And you can see here we're just over 100 miles. We're at 2.4 miles per kilowatt, so not bad for long highway driving. 2.4 comes out to, you guys can do the math, it's 170 from zero, from 100 down to zero, 170 miles about. This is again a standard range battery pack, so 68 kilowatts of usable power. So we're gonna get to the station. But again, as part of the review part, I would say if you're driving, you've got no concern here at all about comfort. It's a very smooth ride. It handles really well. In Whisper, the steering column's a little loose, but you can tighten that up a little bit with Unbridled. But again, super comfortable, very smooth ride. I've got the larger wheels and tires on here, upgraded from the 18s that it came with. They were a little thin. You could kind of feel the weight of the car on those. Plus, I just like the look of the thicker tire. Gives the car a little bit more of an aggressive stance, which I think goes well with the styling cues that Ford was trying to get with the design of this car. So I went wider, and those thinner tires, you can squeal them a lot. You go around a corner quick, you take off from a red light, and you'll get those things to chirp. Part of that is because they're so thin. They're so thin so that the car could get the range that Ford was targeting. But I think to some level Ford might have put tires that squeak on here on purpose, just because they did give it the Mustang name, and if you're squealing your tires, it gives you the feeling of you're a badass sport car driver. So that's just my opinion. Either way, super comfortable. The seats are very comfortable. I'm a bigger guy, but I'm very comfortable in these seats. So again, this is my first time using a better route planner estimating that we would arrive with 5%. Again, I put in 2.6 as the
Continue straight to CT
miles
30,
per
CT
kilowatt.
83, South Windsor, then
You can
turn
see
left.
we've gotten down to 2.4 actually, and a lot of that is from just driving, a little bit of the heat use. But yeah, I'm still at 26%. Still plan to stop at this location. Was originally planning
Turn
to
left
stop
to
there
Deming
for
Street, then turn left.
38 minutes. Was the estimate that a better route planner gave me. I'm going to continue to fill up.
In 500 feet, turn
Similar
left to Hale
to
Road.
what the suggestion was. So the one thing I typically hate with the car is the charging. I either have issues or it charges slow. They did have to bring it into the shop, and they supposedly updated the charging module, so should be good. Let's see what we get for a speed. Alright, plugged in at 26, we're at 12, 13, 3, 8, 17, 22, jumping, starting to climb. Alright, 84, 90, alright. Definitely much better than anything I've seen in the past. Looks like we're holding at 116, 115, which is great because that's the max speed for this car. Again, first time I've ever gotten it up that high. Usually I'm in the 60s, might jump to the 80 for a little bit, but we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go use the restroom in Walmart, hopefully grab some lunch around here. That's another thing. I wish these chargers were in better locations. I drove past a bunch of restaurants, could have grabbed a little bite to eat, but they happen to always be in like Walmart parking lots. Alright, so we're going to let this charge up for a bit. It is currently 5 minutes of 1. We're at 28%. Alright, went for a quick walk, found a mall, so I should be able to go in here and grab some food. Alright, so walked about 10 minutes away from that Walmart, found a shopping mall, like an old school shopping mall. Went up to the food court, got myself some lunch, was able to use the restroom, just about to get back to the car. Really interesting. So the rate of charge was filling up super good, super quick. We got up to that 116 before I left you. We're at 80%. Got there in a little less than a half hour. A better route planner estimated that I was going to arrive with 15% battery and that I should charge for 38 minutes up to 71%. We're at 81 right now. Last I checked the app. So we're gonna walk back to the car, and then we'll get back on the road. I'm still planning to stop where it originally had me. I may take a few minutes and just look around and see what my options are for maybe pushing it a little bit further than planned. I'm not overly concerned. I'm still going to need to hit 3 chargers regardless. So I'd rather deplete the battery down a little bit further and charge. Again, I want to get to my destination with at least 50% state of charge. As you can see, I'm the only one in this charging bay. There's 246 chargers here. Most of them are 150 kilowatt capable. The one I'm plugged into is 350 capable. Obviously the car doesn't accept that. It only goes up to 115. So we're currently at 86%. You can see we've been on for 36 7 minutes, as the app suggested, so right on schedule. But this session would have cost me $18.06 so far, and I've gotten 42 kilowatts of energy delivered. I still had some balance remaining from my Ford Rewards, or the free charging they give you when you buy the car, so you can see that didn't cost me anything. Alright, well, we're back out on the road, just about 5 miles gone so far, back on the road. I gotta say, I'm very pleasantly surprised. I know my car's been in the shop twice due to some firmware updates and module replacements. The most recent one specifically had to do with a charging module. So I was gonna say, in my 6-month review, if I had to label one thing that I really disliked about this vehicle, is the inconsistency of charging. Now, that's still a problem with any EV that's essentially not a Tesla, just because the EA stations are what they are, and then you get the kind of the next tier down, which is the charge points when the EV goes. But yeah, I'm very surprised. Plugged in, it initiated, it identified the vehicle like it was supposed to. I didn't get any charge fault error. Again, I'm going to be stopping at 2 more of these along the way, so, you know,
in 1 mile,
knock on wood. But yeah, so that was going to be my number one complaint. Charging at home is super easy, and that's what most people are going to do, right? You're going to charge at home, you're going to leave with a battery filled to your specific comfort zone, whether that's 80%, 90%, 100%, whatever you're doing. You know, the manual tells you to go to 90, only to 100 when you're going on road trips like this. So that's my update as it comes to charging. I've given up on a better route planner. It's getting a little squirrely. So I'm using the onboard navigation. It's suggesting the same charging location that I was going to stop at anyhow. The only difference is I'm going to add one more. I'm just going to grab the address off a Better Route Saver, or Better Route Planner, sorry, and plug that in as my next destination. But anyhow, just cruising along here. This is the Select all-wheel drive. So with the Select, you got the standard size battery, 68 kilowatts of usable energy. So this is technically the second slowest one they offer, I guess, with the rear wheel drive being technically the slowest. If you're talking 0 to 60 times, they're plenty fast. It's a big heavy car. I live in the Northeast. I'd much rather have the all-wheel drive with that added power. Super quick for maneuvering on the highway, merging, just taking off from a dead stop if you want to throw your passengers back in the seat a little to get a giggle. More than enough power. You go up in the extended range battery, you get a little bit more horsepower, same torque, and then obviously there's the GT. I can't justify the GT money, but I could see the benefits of a premium. I didn't want the glass roof, but we're cruising here now at almost 80. At one point, I was up a little higher, had to get around a truck. Whether you're going 70, 80, 30, it's just a smooth ride. You don't even know that you're going as fast as you're going until you're going it. So I'm definitely a big fan of the speed and the comfort and the handling that this car offers. Prior to this, I was in a 2014 Jeep Cherokee, and it was fine. But this just rides so much smoother, so much nicer. Obviously, it's newer, so that helps. That car I sold it with 125,000 miles on it, or something along those numbers. But that's just another observation I want to make sure I share with people. It's quiet in here. Again, road noise. Very smooth ride. And it's just a fun car to drive. It just really is fun. I know I've never owned a car that I've felt was so fun to drive. I just switched to unbridled, gave myself a little bit more throttle response, tightened up the wheel a little. For some reason, the propulsion sounds on. I don't typically use that. I know some people like it, but if you get over these bumps, you can hear that rumble coming from the speakers, making it sound like you're actually pushing an engine. It is what it is. I don't need it, but it's just so fun to drive. So this is some of the things you have to deal with when you're dealing with an EV. This is the station I need to stop at. It's unavailable. The other two stations are taken, and they're going slow, so hopefully we'll get some juice in here. I'm going to take a look on the map and see what other charging solutions I have. We've been getting a pretty decent charge. Again, got 115 when we plugged in, so I'm very happy. There were two ID4s here when I pulled in. So we're just charging along. I'm going to sit in the car. It's chilly out there. This thing's reading 56. I don't know if that's right. It feels colder than that. But you can see here I'm at 40%, 41. It's expected to get up to 80% at 428. I'll pretty much ride that out. I think that's a little more than I need. Like I said, I'm still going to stop at one more stop along the way. As far as talking about the car or not talking about charging, one of the things I do really enjoy about this car is the technology, right? So as I've been driving on the highway, you saw the little bubble around the car for the cruise control. It does bum me out that newer models or newer builds, same exact car, built after mine, it's got the Blue's Clues unlocked. I'm still waiting for them to give me the ability to pay them $600 more to have that unlocked. I would have loved to have had that for this road trip. So come on, Ford, step your shit up, buddy. In the newer models, they also get a physical traction control button here where I have nothing. But overall, I really, really love the interior of this car and the technology that is here. You know, obviously they're copying Tesla with the big screen. I do like that they gave us a screen up front with a lot of good information. I'm not opposed to the simple design that Tesla has, but I would much prefer what we have here. Obviously, you get your different drive modes, and they actually do provide a different feeling. You get the 360-degree cameras with the technology package, or standard in the premiums. You can add it to the GTs. You can close that out. But you can just see, just throughout the settings here, you've got more than enough, right? It's a little overbearing with the amount of stuff that's in here. But with all of these cars, Tesla included, and that ID4, you know, you don't quite feel like your car is aging the way a car used to age. You know, getting these over-the-air updates. Now, granted, this one is garbage, right? Because it's just the ability to doodle on the screen while you're waiting to get charged up. Who needs that, right? It doesn't really do much for you. But knowing that they can add more features, unlock more of the battery, in theory, they can give you better acceleration. They could give you different handling. So there's a lot that can be done with over-the-air updates. So just having that sense of the car always being up to date. It's kind of like your phone. Where you get over-the-air updates on your phone. And granted, phone companies usually stop supporting that after 2 or 3 years. And what we've seen with Tesla is they continue to do that. And Ford's really going to have to follow suit and keep up with that in this marketplace. But, it is a very, it's not a complete spaceship. But when you compare it to something like the ID4, the ID4 is much more of a traditional vehicle, at least on the inside and the way it drives. I wasn't overly impressed, personally. But to each their own, and whatever makes financial sense or fits your style, you should do that. But I do like that this is giving you that more modern approach, but not going over the top with it with just one simple screen. And how about this for technology? You got little flippers. I can do this by hand. I can open and close the vents. I'm a big fan of Elon, but sometimes that dude gets a little squirrely with the lack of the directions and closing the vents. Alright, so I'm just about to pull off giggity from this charging station. Just so you can see, I've been here for 32 minutes. That doesn't include the 20 minutes I had to wait for other people to get off the station. So you can see this time it's $17.20. Last time we were like $18 and something. So it's not that much cheaper than gas, right? I had a 4-cylinder engine. I would have been getting in the low 20s mile per gallon. I probably would have had to fill up maybe once to once and a half on this whole trip. It would have been more money, but we are going to stop one more time. But right now we're at $35 in charging. A tank of gas at today's prices probably would have been $50 or so. So as you can see, the trip so far, we've gone 222 miles. 222 is what I think I said. 222 miles. We've had a 4.5 hour drive time, and we're currently averaging about 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Not too bad. Again, I haven't been trying to hypermile or do anything special as far as conserving energy. Just driving like a normal person.
Keep right to I-287, then keep left.
A Mustang coupe just got a little aggressive towards me. But
keep right to I-287, then keep left.
Keeps talking every time I want to talk. Okay, we're back on the road, heading to what will be our final charging station in New Jersey before getting into Pennsylvania. And that kind of brings us to my other point. And I don't need charging actually to get to my destination. But because my destination seems to be in a bit of a charging wasteland, I want to make sure that I get there with at least 50% state of charge, just so that if I need to get a charge, I'll have plenty of distance to be able to get to one in the area. I'm kind of hoping I can just find an outlet in my work parking lot and plug into that, and just kind of mooch off them for a while. But that's something that you never really had to plan before if you have driven traditional ICE vehicles, right? There's a gas station there's always going to be a gas station. So it's definitely a change in thought process. And I don't do a lot of long road trips. I do this one every once in a while. This is probably my third time in a year, but first time in this vehicle. So, and again, I've had the car now exactly 6 months, or 6 months tomorrow, technically. But when you're planning a road trip, there's no way around it. There's the trip is going to take longer. It's going to add miles in some cases. It is what it is. There's no getting around that. So for me, previously driving down on this route, it's about a 350 mile trip, and I would probably do that in 6 hours or so, 6.5. Stop a couple times to stretch the legs, get gas at least once on the way. Here it's slightly different because now I need to, those charging stations are going to be where I need to stretch my legs. So I'm planning everything around those charging stations. And as you can see from that last one, it was like a sketchy strip mall in White Plains. The two owners of the ID4s, they were relatively nice. Had some discussion with them. They were both Uber drivers, which makes sense, right? That's exactly where I think the ID4 falls. Uber drivers, especially with that 3 years of free charging that they give, I think that's the perfect spot for the ID4. But anyhow, I had to navigate over again to that sketchy strip mall in White Plains. It's not a place I would have ever gone. The first charging station that I stopped at, was in a Walmart, like you saw. I had to walk around and try to figure out where to get some food. It's not super convenient. I would say that if you're someone who's constantly doing these long road trips, get a plug-in hybrid, or stick with an ICE vehicle for now until the charging infrastructure's better built out. But if you're like me and you just kind of do short trips around town, bring your kids where they need to go, an EV makes a lot of sense. It's not this huge savings, right? You could buy a nice vehicle that's $25,000-$30,000, and buying gas and dealing with the maintenance, it's still going to be less expensive than an EV, because EVs are premium priced at this point. But if you are doing these long trips, just understand that it's going to be longer. This trip, we'll see what it is when we finally get there. It was originally going to be 7 hours and 9 minutes was what the a better route planner was giving me when I mapped it out. We'll see what this ends up being. I hit some traffic, obviously that impacts it. Getting to the charging stations, they were in more densely populated areas, so there were stops and stop and go a little bit there. So I would say just consider that. Remember that in your purchasing and buying decision. So for this past almost 50 miles, it's been not heavy traffic, but decent traffic on the expressway in New Jersey. But we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes, just about 50 miles. For this leg, so far, we've been getting about 3.3 on the miles per kilowatt. It's pretty good. Just looking over at what our total trip looks like. I'm gonna look at trip 1. So we're at 272 miles and 5 hours and 44 minutes and 2.6 miles per kilowatt. So doing pretty well. Overall, all highway, going down from New Hampshire to Philadelphia. I'm going through essentially 6 states. The temperature up there on the screen is off by at least
Keep left
a factor of 10 degrees. It's got to be at least low to mid 50s, and with the wind, it feels a lot colder out there when I was out charging. So that's an interesting issue. Can't read temperature correctly. All right, just about pulling up to the final
Turn right toward
station.
Outer Ring Road, Quakerbridge Mall. Then turn left onto Outer Ring Road.
It's pretty good because I can actually see the chargers from here. I don't know if that's picking it up. But nice station, easily spotted. It is a little disappointing. It's in like a back of a mall parking lot, really off in the distance, not near anything. But hey, it is what it is. So we'll go here. We'll get our final charge. Take a quick look at our numbers. So this leg was 3 miles per kilowatt. Not too bad. Almost 2 hours of driving. 86 miles. Not too bad. Overall, we've been going for 6 hours and 25 minutes. Again, if this was a gas car, I'd be at my destination by now, but it is what it is, and I knew that going in. So I stopped and grabbed some lunch, dinner this time, in another shopping mall. So I've had my fair share of hanging out at the mall like I'm a teenage girl. Charged back up, so we started at 36%. We've been on here for 40 minutes. We're at 92%. I'm gonna unplug. That's plenty of what I need. But really interesting, since getting the car serviced and then swapping out a charging module, they did install the latest firmware, from what they told me at least. And this is actually really good state of charge for, rate of charge for the state of charge that we're at. Usually this would drop off completely off the map. So I'm really happy about my charging situation. So at this point, I have no more Ford charging points left, so this one cost me $2.75. So for after owning this car now for 6 months, living with an EV for 6 months, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm very happy with my decision to convert over to EV. It was time for a new car, and it just made sense to buy a car now. And so I'm super happy. There's a lot of good options out there, whether it be the Tesla or the Volkswagen has a spot, and the e-trons and all the other cars that are out there. I would say for me, the Mustang's the best looking one, and that was the big reason I chose the Mustang over the Model Y. I've got kids, so I need a SUV crossover, and I have dogs, so I need something with some kind of a hatchback where those bitches can jump in the back and I can take them to the park. So very happy with all around capabilities of this car. Again, an EV is not for everyone. Don't get blinded by the flashiness of an EV. Everybody has an iPhone, so I need an iPhone mentality. I would say really look at your situation and decide if it makes sense. If you live in a condo or an apartment or only have street parking and you need to completely rely on public charging, give that some thought. Public charging's not that much less expensive than gas. You're paying the premium for the vehicle. Now, if you get, a lot of cars come with free charging. I know Volkswagen comes with 3 years. This Mustang came with 250 kilowatts, which I just used up. Polestar just announced that they're giving 2 years, I believe it is. I think when the Kia Hyundais show up, they're also going to have some free charging. So, you know, you'll at least have free charging for some period of time. But ideally, home charging is what you're going to want to do. And if you don't have the ability to charge at home, I would really think about your situation with going to an EV. That's my personal opinion. But overall, the style on this car is hands down the best looking one. I was going to buy a Model Y. You know, the single screen, I can get past that. The no Android Auto, I can look past that. You know, some of the quirks that come along with a Tesla, I was willing to look past. But then I took this for a drive, drove really well. But just the way it looks was just top. That's what got me. That's what sold me 100% on this car. I don't care that it's called a Mustang. I've never been a Mustang bro. A lot of the times Mustang drivers come with a stigma. I don't care what they called it. It's a marketing genius work by using outrage culture and turning it on itself by calling it a Mustang. So you get the Mustang people pissed off, and you get the people who aren't Mustang people driving it and causing that conversation. So it was a smart play by marketing at Ford. I'll give them that much. So coming up, we should be rounding out this trip pretty quick here. Pretty happy to be done with this drive. So currently we're just going with the flow of traffic, 60 miles an hour, sticking within reasonable speed. Let's see where we're at as far as total. So we're at 322 miles, 6 hours and 43 minutes, and 2.6 looks to be about where we're going to end up. I'll check in one last time when I park at the hotel, but I don't expect that to change too much. You know, maybe it goes to 2.5, maybe it goes to 2.7, who knows. But, you know, overall, that's what you're going to get for range. Again, so much goes into range, right? Like temperature outside, if I was running the heat, how fast you're going, are you driving into wind, are you driving against wind? It's, you know, you got to have a beautiful mind to work out that calculation. But I would say get over the range anxiety and just enjoy the car, especially if you can charge at home. There's no reason why an EV wouldn't work for you. Alright, I've arrived at my destination. I've got 68% of charge left. That's because we filled up a little more than needed. But whatever, I was eating dinner, so just let it go while I was eating. We finished up at 2.6 miles per kilowatt, 7 hours, 15 minutes, 348 miles. Good long trip. So 2.6 miles. So we did 2.6, and we have a 68 kilowatt battery, meaning my estimated total range when highway driving is about 177 miles. Again, that's based on today's driving conditions, but overall 2.6 isn't bad for the distance we did, the highways we were on, the speeds that I was maintaining. I would say 2.6 is relatively good. Could it be better? Yes, but it could also be worse. As you can see, I was using the front. That's where I got my bag. Get a little bit of a light in here. Brought my Oculus headset in case I get bored in my room. But you can see my car, I removed the dividers. I've got an early build one, so it came with the dividers. This button here still doesn't do anything. You can hear nothing's happening in there when you press that button, so it hasn't been